Hey guys! Today we're going to be talking about the tav! The tav makes the t sound like in team. The peshat level of understanding for this letter is that it has a numerical value of 400 and it is the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It means true, sign, life, and death. In the Paleo Hebrew, this letter is written like a T, like this, or like a plus sign, like this. Some words in Hebrew that begin with the Hebrew letter tav are todah, which translates to thank you.
You're welcome.
Torah, which translates to instruction, and tau, which translates to buffalo. It is spelled with a tav, a vav,
An aleph,
and a vav. The remez level of understanding for this letter is that this letter is composed of a resh and a nun. If you add all the numerical values together, which is resh 200 plus nun 50, you get 250. And if you add 2 plus 5, you get 7. And the numerical value of the zayin is 7. This letter reminds us that we have a sign from God and promises that sustain us and give us life, Shabbat. The Shabbat is on the 7th day of the week.
Even though we read that the Shabbat is a sign between the children of Israel and God, we also read that God rested on the 7th day.
And it says in Exodus 31:13, speak now to Bnei Yisrael, saying, surely you must keep my Shabbatot, which is plural for Shabbat, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, so you may know that I am Adonai, who sanctifies you. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 56, there is a promise for those who keep the Shabbat will have a special place at God's table, and they will have a better name than sons and daughters. Even the nations and foreigners that keep the Shabbat will have a special place at God's table. Let's read Isaiah 56. Persevere justice, do righteousness, for my salvation is about to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the one who does this, the Son of Man who takes hold of it, who keeps from profaning Shabbat and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Do not let a son of a foreigner who has joined himself to Adonai say, Adonai, I will surely exclude me from his people. Nor let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dried tree. For thus says Adonai, to the eunuchs who keep my Shabbatot, who choose what pleases me and hold fast my covenant, I will give to them in my house and within my walls a memorial and a name better than sons and daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that will not be cut off. Also the foreigners who join themselves to Adonai to minister to him and to love the name of Adonai, and to be his servants, all who keep from profaning Shabbat, and hold fast to my covenant. These I will bring to my holy mountain, and let them rejoice in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and sacrifices will be acceptable on my altar, for my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations. Adonai Elohim who gathers the dispersed of Israel declares, I will gather still others to him, to those already gathered. All you beasts of the field, come to eat, all you beasts in the forest. His watchmen are all blind, all of them know nothing. All of them are mute dogs unable to bark, dreamers lying down, lovers of slumber, and the dogs are greedy, they never have enough. They are shepherds with no discernment, they have all turned to their own way, each to his own game, one and all. Come, let's get wine, let's guzzle strong drink, tomorrow will be like today. only even better.
Now for the third level of understanding, the Darash. Tav is spelled with a Tav and a Vav. Tav. See? And if you add the numerical values of Tav and Vav, you get Tav 400 and Vav 6. And if you add them together, you get 406. And if you add the 4 plus the 0 plus the 6, you get 10. So the essence of this letter is 10, a Yod. Yod is symbolic of the 10 Commandments, a hand, a Jew, and the tribe of Judah. Yeshua, who was from the tribe of Judah, he was called the Lion of Judah, was a Jew who kept the commandments and was God's hand on earth through actioning his Torah. Now for the fourth level of understanding, the Sod level. Remember how we came to 10 as the conclusion? Well, if you add 1 plus 0, you get 1. And so 1 is the numerical value of the Aleph. Aleph is the divine essence of the Tav. Aleph came to earth so that he could manifest himself through his creation, through his word, and through his Torah. And so finally that we would live and not die. The letter Tav represents truth, life, sign, and death. And it says in John 19:30, when Yeshua tasted the sour wine, he said, "It is finished." And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. So he said, "It is finished." And he said this when he completely surrendered to the will of the Father. The result in him was becoming the Mashiach, the anointed, thus completing the work that was assigned to him from the foundation of the earth. When Mashiach comes back, he will look for those with the sign of truth, which is his word, and the sign of life, his ruach. And he will look for those with the Spirit of God. It says in John 14, verse 3-7, "If I go prepare a place for you, I will come again and take you to myself, so that where I am, you may also be, and you know the way to where I am going." And then Thomas, his disciple, says, Thomas said to him, "Master, we don't know where you are going. How can we know the way?" And Yeshua said to him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you have come to know me, you will know my Father also. From now on, you do know him and have seen him." So the letter Aleph represents strength, leadership, and it also can represent the father, an ox, or a buffalo. That's where you get the strength from. So Yeshua became the strength of the Father through his leadership and through his word. He emptied himself of himself and said, "It is finished." It is clear that Yeshua is the Aleph and the Tav of the worldwide mission for him and us. They shall see his face, and his name shall be on their foreheads. It says that in Revelation 22:4. Let's read Revelation 22:4. It says, "They shall see his face, and his name shall be on their foreheads." And it's interesting that that's chapter 22, right? Because the Tav is the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet. What is the sign, you ask? The sign is his Torah in our mind. And we have to keep the Shabbat. And his life is because Yeshua is the living word, the life. He became the life of all men.
Now I'll teach you how to draw and paint the Tav!
So to draw the Tav, we're going to start with our first dot, which is going to be right here at the top. So I'm going to make my dot right about here, kind of like in an L shape to the center, like an inch to the left and an inch up. And I'm just going to go a freehand line and just go all the way down here. Like that. Now I'm just going to make this part right here. This is a really easy letter, so I'll make my dot first. So aligned with this, we're gonna go all the way down, and we're gonna align it with this part right here. So it's gonna be right here, connection with the top, and alignment with the bottom. Dot right there. So this is where the tip of this is gonna be. I'm gonna start back at the top and just gonna go this one. That, and then I'm just gonna erase my grid lines. So other than that, that's how you draw the tav.
Okay, so to paint the tav, these are the colors that I will be using. White. You can use either a dark pink or a red. I'll be using a dark pink. Atlantis. Mermaid Parade, and a little bit of blue glitter acrylic paint. I'm gonna start off with painting the actual letter, and to do that I'm just gonna, like, up here I'll use a little bit of white with Atlantis, and then going down here we'll get a little darker with Mermaid Parade, the same thing along this part here, and when we get down here, this is where I'll be adding my blue glitter. So let's get started. Here's when I'm going to add some of my glitter, and I'm just going to do it like on this bottom section here. And to do that, I'm just going to dip my paintbrush dry in the glitter and paint it. For the background, if you have red would be the best color to use. I'm going to be using pink, a dark pink, and I might mix it a little bit with brown just to get some darker spots. We're going to be using also white to create lighter spots. So we're just going to go in a circle motion. I'm going to be turning my paper to get that circular motion, just like we did for the first painting, the Aleph. So now we are going to read to you Psalm 119 verses 169 all the way to the end, the last verse, which is 176. Woohoo! And explain to you how they correlate with the tav.
Verse 169 through 170. Let my cry come to you, Adonai. Grant me understanding by your word. Let my supplication come before you. Deliver me according to your promise.
So remember how we said that the word is the sign, right? The sign is the word of God, and we have to have the word of God in our mind.
The next two verses are 171 through 172. My lips utter praise, for you teach me your statutes. My tongue sings of your word, for all your mitzvot are righteous.
So it's saying praise, right? And statutes, right? And remember, God's statutes is like his commands. And the Torah in Hebrew means law, right? Commands. And so the sign, the statutes, is the sign. The word of God is the sign.
The next two verses are 173 through 174. Let your hand be ready to help me, for I have chosen your precepts. I long for your deliverance, Adonai, and your Torah is my delight.
So here it says, let your hand, right? And remember how we talked about the yod means God's hand on earth? The yod is the hand. And it says, I have chosen your precepts. So basically David is saying, all I am is your word, right? And Yeshua, when he said, why have you forsaken me? He was basically saying, where is your hand, Lord? It's gone, I need it.
The last two verses are 175 through 176. Let my soul live and praise you, and may your rulings help me. I have strayed like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I did not forget your mitzvot.
So here it's saying, right, Tav is the letter of life. Let my soul live. And something that we didn't talk about is the gematria of the numerical value 400, right? Tav's numerical value is 400. Something interesting is that if you add the numbers in 400, which is 4 plus 0 is 4, you get 4. And remember how Tav correlates with the Aleph. So if you add the numerical value of the Aleph, it's just 1, right? So 4 plus 1 equals 5, and 5 is the Hey. So the essence of this letter is praise, awe, Hey. And it says in the song, let my soul live and praise you. So we have just read to you Psalm 119 verses 169 to 172 and explained to you how they correlate with the Tav. So I hope you enjoyed painting the Tav with me.
Today you learned about the Tav and how it makes the T sound like in team. You learned how it has a numerical value of 400 and it is the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet. You learned that it means true, sign, death, and life. This letter reminds us that we have a sign and promises from God, who gives us life and sustains us
through provisions like the Zain. You learned that the Aleph is the divine essence of the Tav, and that the Aleph represents He who came down to earth and manifested Himself through creation, man, and Torah, so that we may live and not die. And you learned that when Mashiach comes back, He will look for those who have the sign of truth, which is His word, and the sign of the Ruach, which is His Spirit, the Spirit of God.
We hope you enjoyed this video!